Hey guys, Matt here. This is my review of One Battle After Another. This movie is directed by Paul Thomas Anderson, who previously directed Boogie Nights, The Master, and There Will Be Blood. This movie stars Leonardo DiCaprio, Sean Penn, and Chase Infinity. Now, the plot of this movie is about a man named Bob, played by Leonardo DiCaprio, and his girlfriend, played by Teyana Taylor, and they are revolutionaries, part of a group called the French 76th. Basically, they stand up against injustices done by the U.S. government or other groups, and Bob is the explosives guy. They set bombs to things, they blow things up, they stand up for what they believe in. Well, during one mission, they wrong a man named Lockjaw, played by Sean Penn, and 16 years later, after they have a child, this child is now grown up, played by Chase Infinity, and Colonel Lockjaw is back on the trail for Bob and his family. Now, when I first saw the trailer to this movie, I wasn't really sold. I was like, okay, the actors in this movie are good, so I might see it for them, but the plot didn't really draw me in. Well, having seen the movie, I can honestly say that the acting in this film was really good. The story wasn't for me, but the acting and the directing is where this movie's at. So obviously, the two things that stand out to me in this movie when I think about this film is the music and the acting. This film has a lot of diverse actors involved with it. Not only do you have Leonardo DiCaprio, Sean Penn, Chase Infinity as the young daughter now, Teyana Taylor, but you also have Regina Hall, you have Benicio del Toro, you have Tony Goldwyn, and you even have Kevin Teague, I think his name is, from Roadhouse, and a couple other small actors show up here and there. But the acting from everybody involved, whether you like the characters or don't like the characters, they're all really good because this film, if anything, feels real. Like all of these characters are in real life situations. It reminds me a lot of the movie Hell or High Water, where because this storyline and this situation, these scenarios are so unlike anything we haven't seen in movies in probably 20, 25 years, you don't know what's going to happen next because Paul Thomas Anderson is such a diverse actor that you can't predict what the next scene is going to be or who may or may not die in the next moment or who's going to be in the film the entire time and who isn't. So a lot of this film was very unpredictable, and so was the music. Something interesting that he does in this movie is he'll set a really intense scene where someone will be chasing somebody or someone will be in a state of panic or fear or running from somebody. But the music will be very unorthodox. It won't be a typical song playing in the background. It'll be a simple beat, a lot like There Will Be Blood, where just a simple melodic tone while a scene is happening or a series of scenes are happening just adds to the intensity of the movie. One scene that comes to mind is in the third act of the film, there's a car chase involving three vehicles, and there's a bunch of hills in like New Mexico or some southern state. And yet the music is very unorthodox, but it keeps you gripping and it keeps you interested because the music is so unorthodox that you don't know what direction the scene is going to go in. So that was really, really well done. Leonardo DiCaprio as Bob, he's good. And I will say that one thing that Leonardo DiCaprio has shown me in recent years is that he plays the role of someone who's vulnerable really well. You had Don't Look Up, and then you had Killers of the Flower Moon, and now you have this movie where Leo is not like the top guy. He's not the smartest. He's not the most attractive. He actually plays kind of like a dumb guy. He's someone who, for 16 years, has been abusing drugs and alcohol, who's not the best father for his 16-year-old daughter, and he plays a guy that's kind of bumbling and stumbling and, kind of stupid really well. And that's one thing that worked for the movie but also didn't work, is that this film has a lot of dark humor in it. There's a scene, for example, that I thought was really funny involving Leonardo DiCaprio on the phone with a guy named Comrade Joshua talking about passwords. That's an interaction I could have watched for 2 hours. But because you had the kind of out of place Leonardo DiCaprio as a guy who's kind of panicky and struggling, he doesn't know which direction to go, you have all these other serious factors around him. It kind of took me out of the movie a little bit. The dark humor is in this film sprinkled in, but then you have all these other serious things, and it kind of I didn't understand what the tone of the movie was supposed to be. Am I supposed to take this as a serious, real life threat movie, or am I supposed to see this as kind of a comedy? Benicio del Toro is the co-star in this movie as well as the sensei. He's the guy that helps Bob out, and their interaction was really cool. But Benicio didn't play it incredibly straight. He didn't play it totally serious. Now the situation was serious because Bob was running for his life, but Benicio, I'm used to seeing him in funny stuff, and so that was a little out of place. Sean Penn, however, in this movie, wow, what a menace. As Colonel Lockjaw, just a guy that, walks around like Vince McMahon, who has little ticks where he shows his bottom teeth. Very intimidating, and I'm glad that Sean Penn is in roles again because ever since, Secret Life of Walter Mitty, we haven't seen Sean Penn in a while, so it was really cool to see Sean Penn on screen again, especially with Leo. And then you have Chase Infinity as the daughter of Leo and Teyana Taylor, and she did a good job. Her arc was, to be this vulnerable, kind of sheltered girl, learning who her parents are, learning her role in the world, and kind of learning to toughen up, considering the world she lives in. And she does that. She does a good job. Regina Hall is a co-star. She's good. She's serious. Small role, but it works out. Tony Goldwyn, a lot like in Oppenheimer, man, it's just a character that you don't like. And there's some scenes in this movie involving a group called the Christmas Adventurers that had me going, okay, so I know this movie is fiction, but this group of people, including Sean Penn, it kind of makes me think that this is possibly how the world might be like behind the scenes. And so it was stuff like that that had me go, are you sure this isn't based on real life? Now, I'm guessing that's why they added in the dark humor to kind of make light of certain things. So it's not just, hey, this is the real world, it's all dark, it's a conspiracy, super depressing, stuff like that. Also, the characters weren't incredibly likable. Aside from Chase Infinity and her innocence, a lot of the characters in this movie were guilty of something, and so you really didn't know if you wanted them to survive or not. Teyana Taylor, as Leo's girlfriend slash wife, she's at the beginning of the movie, and she makes a decision that had me go, okay, I did kind of like her, but now I don't. Sean Penn, of course, is the menace. You don't. Bob is an idiot, but he means well. But still, he was involved with something, a group of bad guys. So it's kind of like, am I supposed to want this character to survive because he's the main character? Or do I want him to survive because he's a father and he's played by Leonardo DiCaprio? It's a little odd. So, like Wes Anderson and the Coen brothers, Paul Thomas Anderson, his movies for me are just hit or miss. There are movies of his that I like, and then there are movies that I just don't really care for. So, because the acting in this movie saved a plot that I really didn't care about, and because this movie felt refreshing, like something we haven't seen in quite a while, I'm going to give One Battle After Another a B. So until next time, guys, see ya.